Have you ever felt like you're working so hard, but not really moving? Like each day blurs into the next, and no matter how much effort you put in, success still feels far away? I've been there, and maybe you have too. There's this myth we're sold, that success comes in grand moments, big leaps, viral wins, overnight fame. But what if that's not the truth? What if success doesn't come from a single breakthrough, but from the small things you do when no one's watching? What if success is a quiet rhythm, a slow build, a simple habit repeated? Jim Rohn once said, "Success is nothing more than a few simple disciplines, practiced every day." And when I first heard that quote, it hit me. Because deep down I knew, I wasn't failing because I didn't have talent. I wasn't stuck because I lacked ambition. I was just inconsistent. I would sprint, burn out, then stop. But the people I admired, they didn't always run fast. They just didn't stop. They showed up. Even when they didn't feel like it, even when no one clapped, even when it was boring. And that's when it clicked. Success isn't about intensity, it's about consistency. It's not about doing one thing perfectly, it's about doing small things persistently. Today we go deep into that idea. We're going to challenge the myth of all or nothing. We're going to explore how tiny repeated wins create unstoppable momentum. And we're going to rebuild our idea of success from the ground up. From hype to habit, from chasing to choosing, from pressure to process. So if you've ever felt behind, this talk is for you. If you've ever felt like giving up because progress was too slow, this talk is for you. And if you're ready to create change that lasts, not just for a week, but for a lifetime, then lean in. Because this isn't about motivation, it's about momentum. And momentum starts small. Let's begin. It's funny, isn't it? We live in a world that praises the big wins. The highlight reels, the all-at-once transformations, the before and after photos, the dramatic turnarounds. But no one talks about the invisible weight we carry when we try to chase that version of success every day. That constant internal dialogue that says, if I'm not transforming fast enough, I must be falling behind. Let's get honest for a second. Have you ever felt like your life is on repeat? You wake up, scroll, work, eat, sleep, repeat. And in between, you keep telling yourself, I need to do more, be more, move faster, show results. But deep down, there's this quiet exhaustion. Not from working hard, but from feeling like nothing you do is ever enough. And that's the real pain, isn't it? The pressure to change your entire life in a single leap, to go from stuck to successful overnight. No pit stops, no pauses, just acceleration. We're bombarded with stories. People who went viral, made millions, transformed their bodies in 30 days, built a business in 6 weeks, healed their trauma in one retreat. These stories are everywhere. And while they might inspire some, they quietly erode our patience. And whether we realize it or not, we start believing, if my progress isn't dramatic, it doesn't count. So what do? We sprint, we go all in. We start that new routine on Monday with fire in our eyes, new journal, new planner, new vision board, new mantra. And for a few days, it feels amazing. Euphoric even. Like this time it's really going to work. Until it doesn't. Until life interrupts. Until your motivation dips. Until old patterns show up. Until you miss one workout, eat one unhealthy meal, skip one journal entry, forget to meditate, and suddenly the whole system collapses. We fall into the trap of all or nothing thinking. If I can't do it perfectly, I won't do it at all. And that's the moment we lose. Not because we lack potential, but because we believe the lie that success is loud, dramatic, and fast. Here's the truth most people don't say out loud. Real success is boring. It's waking up, doing the same small thing you did yesterday, and doing it again tomorrow. It's not sexy, it's not flashy, it's not Instagram worthy, but it works. The real enemy is not laziness. It's the myth that says small doesn't matter. Let me tell you what small really looks like. It's choosing water instead of soda. Again. It's writing 200 words when you didn't feel like writing at all. It's turning off Netflix after one episode instead of 3. It's reaching out to one friend instead of isolating completely. It's saying thank you when you're irritated and taking a deep breath when you want to react. Tiny acts, tiny wins, but when done consistently, they change who you are. And yet, we dismiss them because we've been trained to chase peak moments instead of daily movement. You've seen it, right? That friend who announces a 30-day challenge. They're all in. New gym clothes, new supplements, big energy. But by day 7, they're ghosting. because hype can't carry you when habit hasn't been built. Now let me paint another picture. Someone wakes up. No big declaration, no social media post. They just do one push-up, then tomorrow, 2, then 3. A year later, they're fit. Not because they were intense, but because they were consistent. This is what I call the slow miracle. The kind of transformation that doesn't make headlines, but makes legacies. And this applies to every area. In learning, you don't need to read 50 books a year. Read 1 page today, then do it again tomorrow. In finance, you don't need to make 6 figures this month. Save $5 today, track your spending. In healing, you don't need to fix your whole life. Breathe deeply for 60 seconds. Forgive yourself for one small thing. Success is not a lottery, it's a lifestyle. Let me repeat that. Success is not a lottery, it's a lifestyle. So why don't we embrace this? Because small feels slow. And we hate slow. We've been conditioned by dopamine, by likes, by fast results, by instant access. We've been taught that faster equals better, but faster often burns out. Slower builds roots, and roots, that's what sustains a tree through every season. Not the speed it grows, but the depth it holds. Let me ask you something. What would your life look like if you chose one small win and repeated it every day for a year? Just one. One quote you live by, one habit you protect, one belief you feed, one tiny thing you commit to even when it feels invisible. The answer? You wouldn't just have results. You'd have a new identity, a quieter mind, a deeper confidence, because that's the real reward of small wins. They don't just change what you do, they change what you believe is possible. They shift your internal narrative from "I'm someone who gives up" to "I'm someone who keeps going." And over time, that changes everything. Not just how you act, but how you think, how you speak, how you show up. So the next time you hear that voice inside say, "This isn't enough, this doesn't matter, this isn't working fast enough," pause and remember this. Big change doesn't come from what you do occasionally. It comes from what you do consistently. One win, one choice, one day, one moment of showing up, even when it's hard, repeated. That's how success is built. That's how momentum is created. That's how transformation becomes permanent. You're not behind. You're not failing. You're just one small win away from becoming who you were always meant to be. So start today, and tomorrow, and the next day. Not to impress the world, but to align with your future self, because small wins, repeated daily, they don't just add up, they multiply, and eventually, they become unstoppable. So far, we've explored the invisible pressure so many of us carry, the pressure to win big, fast, and publicly. But now let's pivot. Let's go deeper into the mindset that rewired everything for me. A mindset taught by one man, Jim Rohn. Jim Rohn didn't speak in hype. He didn't shout. He didn't promise overnight miracles. Instead, he whispered deep truths that sink in slowly and stay forever. He offered a different kind of wisdom, one that honored the long game, the subtle shifts, the quiet resolve. His was not a voice for the impatient. It was a call to those ready to build something lasting. And there's one idea of his that changed my life. Success is nothing more than a few simple disciplines, practiced every day. It's so simple, you might dismiss it, but don't, because that sentence contains a blueprint for transformation. It's not about dramatic effort. It's about deliberate design. It's about who you're becoming in the tiny moments when no one else is watching. When I truly began to study Jim's philosophy, I realized there were 3 core pillars behind this idea of small wins. 3 beliefs that shape how you think, how you act, and who you become. And within each pillar, 1,000 micro-opportunities to choose the person you are becoming. Let's explore them now, one by one. Let's not just learn them, let's live them. Pillar number 1, value-based discipline. Don't wish it were easier, wish you were better. This quote isn't just motivation, it's a challenge. It's a lens through which to evaluate every excuse we tell ourselves. It's an invitation to shift your focus from changing the world to changing yourself. See, most people wait for better circumstances, better timing, better tools, better support. But Jim flips the script. Don't wait for life to get easier. Become stronger, more prepared, more resilient. More you. That's the foundation of small wins. They are not about controlling everything around you. They are about building everything within you. They're not conditional, they're character. Discipline doesn't start with goals, it starts with values. It starts with who you're committed to becoming, not just what you want to achieve. Ask yourself, what do I believe about consistency? What do I value more, comfort or growth? What would my future self thank me for? Because if you value progress, you'll protect your small wins. You'll show up even when it's not glamorous. You'll do the work even when no one's watching. You'll find beauty in the boring. Here's the truth. Discipline becomes sustainable only when it aligns with who you want to be, not just what you want to have. Let me say that again. Discipline is not just a tool. It's an expression of identity. It's how you prove to yourself who you are. Every small win you commit to is a declaration. This is who I am. This is what I stand for. This is what I do, even when it's hard. That's why value-based discipline matters so much. It moves you from behavior to belief, from routine to purpose, from temporary to transformational. It's not about forcing action. It's about becoming someone who naturally chooses action, someone whose default setting is aligned with their dreams. That's the first pillar, and it sets the tone for everything else. Pillar number 2, self-investment. Work harder on yourself than you do on your job. When I first heard this line from Jim Rohn, it shook me. It wasn't just advice, it was a confrontation, a mirror held up to my priorities. Because for most of my life, I had done the opposite. I had poured my energy into external success, into results, into projects, into deadlines, into things that looked impressive from the outside. But what about me? My mindset, my habits, my beliefs, my emotional maturity? Jim's message was clear. If you don't upgrade the person doing the work, then no amount of hustle will lead to lasting success. Self-investment means you see growth not as a luxury, but as a necessity. It's no longer optional, it's mission critical. It means reading 10 pages when you'd rather scroll, reflecting before reacting, asking better questions, not just looking for faster answers, surrounding yourself with people who elevate your standards, practicing silence to hear your truth, choosing solitude over distraction. Because here's the truth, you cannot outperform your self-concept. You can't build a high-level life with a low-level mindset. You can't pour out what you haven't poured in. Jim Rohn knew this. He taught that personal development isn't just about gaining knowledge. It's about rewiring identity. It's about showing up in life as your own best investment. That's why small wins matter so much here. Each one is a vote of confidence. Each one says, I'm worth showing up for. When you meditate for 5 minutes, when you stretch instead of scrolling, when you speak kindly to yourself instead of criticizing, when you write instead of scroll or forgive instead of fume, you're not just managing your time, you're building your future. Jim often said, don't set the goal to be wealthy. Set the goal to become the kind of person who attracts wealth. That's self-investment. And that's the second pillar, one that lifts everything else. Pillar number 3, consistent compounding. Success is nothing more than a few simple disciplines practiced every day. This is the heartbeat of Jim Rohn's philosophy. It's the rhythm of mastery. We live in a world obsessed with breakthroughs, but Jim taught us the power of compounding, the power of daily, deliberate, disciplined action. Let's break this down. One workout won't make you fit, one salad won't transform your health, one journal entry won't give you clarity, but done daily, they become something else entirely. Jim called these simple disciplines, and they're often so small they seem insignificant, which is exactly why they work. Because small means you don't need willpower to start. You don't need perfect conditions to continue. You don't burn out after day 5. You don't exhaust your identity, you build it. Compounding works because it's invisible until it's undeniable. The results show up quietly, then suddenly. Do you know what small wins really build? Momentum. And momentum, once built, does something extraordinary. It makes the next step easier, the next choice lighter, the next decision more automatic, the next challenge less frightening. Jim understood human nature. He knew we are emotional creatures, drawn to what feels urgent. So he taught us to make discipline simple enough that we'd actually do it. And when we do, we stop relying on motivation. We start building identity. We build systems instead of relying on sparks. You go from, I should do this is just who I am. From discipline to default. That's the magic of consistent compounding. It turns ordinary efforts into extraordinary results. It turns the average day into a masterpiece in progress. It's not about adding more pressure. It's about building better systems. Systems rooted in simplicity, in self-trust, in quiet pride. Jim Rohn's success formula wasn't complicated. Few simple disciplines practiced every day, not once a month, not when life is perfect. Every day, even when it rains, even when you're tired, even when no one's clapping. That's the third pillar, the pillar that carries the weight of your potential. Final reflection. So here we are, 3 pillars, 3 philosophies, 3 tools to build a life of quiet power. They are not hacks, not shortcuts, not gimmicks. They are timeless truths. Value-based discipline, self-investment, consistent compounding together, they form the foundation of a life built on small wins. And the most powerful part? You don't need to master them all today. You just need to begin. Pick one. Live it for a week. Notice the shift, not just in what you do, but how you see yourself. Because as Jim said, you cannot change your destination overnight, but you can change your direction overnight. So here's the question. What direction are your daily disciplines pointing you in? Because if you get your disciplines right, if you align them with your values, invest in yourself and repeat them daily, then even your smallest steps will begin to reshape your entire life. And that, my friend, is not just success. That's transformation. That's authorship. That's freedom. So go, practice your simple disciplines. Guard your small wins because they're not small. They're sacred. They're not boring. They're building you. They're not invisible. They're inevitable. This is the Jim Rohn way. This is the path of small wins, and it starts today. We've talked about pressure. We've talked about philosophy. We've explored Jim Rohn's timeless pillars of personal growth. Now it's time to move from knowing to doing, from ideas to implementation, from intentions to identity. Because insight without action becomes regret. But insight with action, that becomes momentum. And momentum, that becomes transformation. So let's simplify. Let's bring all of this down to earth, into something real, tangible, sustainable. Here are 3 small, practical actions you can take starting today to align your life with the power of small wins repeated daily. They don't require money. They don't require talent. They only require one thing, a willingness to begin. Let's dive in. Action number 1. Write a 3-sentence daily commitment. Jim Rohn believed in clarity. He believed that writing things down, writing goals, values, habits, was the first step to owning them. Because when it's written, it's real. So today I want you to write your own daily philosophy. Not a perfect mission statement, not a paragraph full of buzzwords, just 3 sentences. These 3 sentences should become your anchor, your morning reminder, your evening check-in, your compass when life gets cloudy. Here's a structure to help you start. 1. I am someone who. 2. Each day I choose to grow. 3. My small win today is. Let's fill that in with an example. 1. I am someone who builds a life with purpose. 2. Each day I choose to show up with discipline and courage. 3. My small win today is writing 200 words for my book. Keep it simple. Keep it honest. Write it in your journal. Put it on a sticky note near your desk. Make it the wallpaper on your phone. Speak it aloud before your day begins. Whisper it before bed. Because when you define what matters, every day becomes an act of alignment. And when you repeat it out loud, you're training your mind to remember. I don't need to be perfect. I just need to be intentional. Intentionality builds identity, and identity sustains behavior. This small win might take 3 minutes, but it sets the tone for 24 hours. That's your first small win. Action number 2. Track one habit for 7 days. This isn't about overhauling your life. It's about proving to yourself that consistency is possible. Pick one habit, just one. Make it so small you can't fail. Examples: 5 push-ups, 1 paragraph of journaling, 2 minutes of deep breathing, drinking a glass of water first thing in the morning, reading 1 page of a book, saying 1 kind thing to yourself in the mirror. Whatever you choose, write it down. Then create a 7-day tracker. You can use a notebook, your phone, or a simple calendar. Every day you do the habit, check it off, color it in, celebrate it. That check mark is a victory. That check mark is a message to your brain. I follow through. I do what I say I'll do. I am trustworthy. Here's the magic. It's not about the habit itself. It's about building trust with yourself. Because once you trust yourself to do one small thing, you can trust yourself to do bigger things. We often chase motivation, but motivation comes and goes. Trust is stronger than motivation. Discipline is stronger than hype. So go ahead, pick your habit, track it for 7 days, no skipping, no excuses. And if you miss a day, forgive yourself, restart immediately. The goal is not perfection, the goal is proof. Because when you prove to yourself that you can show up, no matter how small the task, you unlock a deeper kind of power. That's your second small win. Action number 3, create a 5-minute evening reset. Success isn't just built in the morning, it's reinforced at night. And most of us overlook that window, the quiet space between the end of the day and rest. One of the most powerful routines I've adopted is what I call the 5-minute reset. It's how I close my day with clarity, not chaos. Here's how it works. Each night before bed, take 5 minutes. No distractions, just reflection. No phone, no noise, just a pen or a pause. Ask yourself these 3 questions. 1. What small win did I complete today? 2. What did I learn about myself today? 3. What's one thing I'll do tomorrow to keep momentum? You don't need to write an essay. Just a few lines. Bullet points, honest answers, simple insights. The goal here is not performance. The goal is pattern recognition. Because when you track your small wins, you realize you're growing. When you notice what you're learning, you develop self-awareness. When you set one clear action for tomorrow, you enter sleep with purpose. And rest with purpose is more restorative than hours of unconscious exhaustion. This 5-minute practice will rewire how you see your day. You'll stop judging your life by productivity and start celebrating it by presence. You'll end your days with intention. And intention? That's where transformation begins. Plus, this nightly ritual builds a subtle sense of momentum. It reminds you, you're not starting from scratch tomorrow. You're continuing from strength. That's your 3rd small win. Here are your 3 small wins to start today. 1. Write your 3-sentence daily commitment. 2. Track one tiny habit for 7 days. 3. End each night with a 5-minute reset. These are not big. They are not dramatic. They may seem too simple to matter, but that's exactly why they do. Because in a world addicted to complexity, simplicity becomes revolutionary. Success is not what you do once in a while. It's not found in sporadic efforts or weekend bursts of inspiration. It's what you repeat when no one's watching. It's what you return to when motivation runs dry. It's the quiet promise you keep to yourself. These 3 actions will build self-trust, create structure, train your identity, increase presence, strengthen reflection, anchor your day in purpose, cultivate resilience over time. They are more than habits. They are micro-rituals of self-respect. Because when you do what you say you will do, you start to believe something powerful. I can count on me. And that belief, that changes everything. It changes how you approach your goals. It changes how you speak to yourself in silence. It changes what you believe you're capable of. And most importantly, they'll move you out of theory into momentum. Because momentum doesn't require speed. It requires consistency. Jim Rohn said, "Discipline is the bridge between goals and accomplishment." That bridge isn't built from pressure. It's built from presence, from practice, from patient persistence. That bridge is built one step at a time, one habit, one sentence, one reflection, one moment of awareness where you chose growth instead of escape. So take that step. Choose one of these actions. Start with one sentence. Start with one breath. Start with one check mark. Do it today, even if it feels small, even if no one sees it. Then do it again tomorrow and again the next day, until small wins become second nature, until they are no longer effort, they are identity. Because small wins, they don't just create results, they create rhythm, they create identity, they create belief, they create momentum that whispers, "This is who I am now." And that rhythm, repeated long enough, becomes your new reality, not by accident, but by design. So let's go. Let's build your bridge, one brick at a time. Let's lay the foundation for the future you were meant to live. Because your greatness isn't waiting in some distant goal. It's hiding in the small win you choose today. Let's take a breath. Let's not rush past what we've just uncovered. Because this wasn't just a talk about productivity or time management. This was about something deeper, something much more intimate. This was about the space between who you are and who you know you could be. That space isn't shameful, it's sacred. It's where transformation lives, it's where courage is born. That space is uncomfortable, yes, but it's also honest. It's a mirror, and mirrors don't lie. Too often, we chase the finish line before learning how to take the first step, with integrity. We worship outcomes, but ignore the discipline that creates them. We dream of breakthroughs, when what we really need is follow-through. Today we've uncovered the quiet power of repetition, the dignity of discipline, the beauty of building momentum through seemingly small, invisible actions, the kind of actions that don't make headlines, but do make heroes. Let me remind you, your future isn't waiting for one perfect moment. It's waiting for a dozen imperfect ones, done consistently. It's not looking for a grand leap. It's looking for your next faithful step. Jim Rohn said, "Success is nothing more than a few simple disciplines, practiced every day. Not once a year, not only when inspiration strikes, but daily, relentlessly, lovingly." So let me ask you, what would happen if you honored your small wins like they were sacred? What would shift if you stopped chasing intensity and started choosing consistency? What would it look like to build a life that's not built on sprints, but on rhythm? The world doesn't need more people who start strong. It needs more people who stay steady. Steady in the face of setbacks. Steady when progress feels invisible. Steady even when no one else notices. Not perfect, just steady. Because progress isn't always visible, but it's always powerful. It's easy to get overwhelmed by the size of your goals, but your job isn't to conquer the whole mountain today. Your job is to lace up your shoes, to take the next step, to plant a flag at the edge of your comfort zone, to say, "This is where I begin." Because every step you take in discipline is one less step you'll have to take in regret. Jim Rohn once said, "We must all suffer one of two pains, the pain of discipline or the pain of regret. And the difference? Discipline weighs ounces, regret weighs tons." So here's my invitation to you. Don't let this just be another inspirational moment that fades by tomorrow. Let it be the beginning of your return to yourself. Write the sentence, drink the water, do the 5 push-ups, track the habit, whisper the affirmation, make the hard choice, turn the page, show up when it's hard, celebrate when it's easy. Not to impress anyone, but to become the kind of person who no longer needs to. Because confidence isn't built in front of an audience, it's built in silence. Because real success isn't loud, it's subtle, it's internal. It's the kind of success that says, "I trust myself, I follow through, I am becoming who I was meant to be." So let me offer you one final moment, a simple but powerful call to interaction. Finish this sentence. Today, I choose one small win because. Don't overthink it, feel it. Let it come from the real you, the brave you. The part of you that's ready to stop surviving and start designing. Maybe it's, today I choose one small win because I'm tired of waiting to feel ready. Today I choose one small win because my future deserves better from me. Today I choose one small win because I've hidden long enough. Today I choose one small win because I'm finally listening to the voice within. Today I choose one small win because my life is worth the effort. Whatever your answer is, let it be your truth. Then act on it. Today. Not perfectly, just faithfully. Because success isn't a destination, it's a direction. And that direction begins with a decision. A simple decision, made quietly, lived loudly. So let's decide, let's commit, let's become. One small win at a time, every day, until who you are aligns with who you've always known you could be. The next chapter of your life isn't waiting for a miracle. It's waiting for your movement. It's waiting for your willingness to begin small and stay faithful. You're ready. Not because everything is in place, but because your heart is in motion. Let's begin. Let's build. Let's become.